Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back with Campaign 2, Episode 36, Talks Machina. This episode, Oh Captain, Who's Captain? I kept thinking it was What Captain. We went in the live stream. I even wrote it in the title card of the live stream, I believe. I have to go back and look to make sure I actually did part 1 and part 2 right. Now that I think of it, there's a good chance I might have put that too. To me, it means the same thing. What captain, to me, meant we don't have a captain. Who's captain means who's captain because we don't have a captain. So it does, in my mind, mean the same thing, but I thought it was what? Not important. The title card is here for this one. Last episode, we did not have a title card. I spent like 15 minutes looking back and forth. Then I watched the episode. It was the longest intro ever. Not that it matters, because honestly, it's always a good time. Brian's great. We now have Travis and Matt with us for this episode. I just saw it. I also thought it was funny that Brian questioned if he was right. He goes, "We're going to start the episode, oh captain, who's captain?" And then he looked at them and was like, "Did I say that right?" Which is funny because he did, but I didn't. And he almost knows I didn't. I think Brian watched me from the future. It was a great episode. Lots of dialogue. Even though it wasn't a whole lot. Actually, no. What am I talking about? We had the Harpies attack at the end. I mean, it wasn't that aggressive a battle. I mean, you can maybe call it aggressive, but it was more on the part of us destroying the Harpies. They came in hot and heavy, and we basically just handled them. They ripped up our sail a little bit, but we got Jester mending it, and we're on our way. Where do we go from here? I don't know. But we have Travis, and we have Matt. So that to me means we're going to learn more about Fjord's backstory, and Matt maybe lets us in on things going on with the NPCs, stuff like that. I don't know. Let's find out. We'll jump into episode 37 after this. I did tell you guys I would let you know what we're going to do as far as the coming weeks, because the next 2 episodes are the shortest ever. They're barely 3 hours, which leaves us barely an hour for live streams. So I said I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm still not 100% sure. I haven't talked to the dude yet, but I think what we're going to do is I think I'm just going to do the live stream, like do part 1 and 2 like I normally do the hour Patreon exclusive. Then for the live stream, maybe we'll just go right into episode 38. Instead of having part 1 and 2 in the beginning of the episode next week, they'll be the end of the episode next week. So we'll do the live stream to start. I almost feel like that'd be interesting to do because there's no reason we have to do the end of every episode live. Sometimes the beginnings of the episodes might be huge. Like there's a huge cliffhanger leading into the beginning of the next one. So I think we're just going to do it like that. No sense in throwing other things in the mix. I feel like we could jump ahead a little bit, get like maybe a good half a week to a week ahead on the next episode. That will get us through campaign 2 that much faster. Not that we're rushing, but I mean, I don't know if we should be throwing extra content in when we haven't even finished Bloodkeep yet. I mean, we could technically. I'll see what you guys think. So I'm going to throw out part 1 Patreon hour exclusive and part 2 like usual. Then we'll do the live stream. If by then we decided something different, we'll change it up. But either way, that's how we're going to do it for now. I'm jumping in. You guys want to see more of what I do? Full unedited episodes, all the shows on the channel, seasons that are what you're seeing, hundreds of exclusives you'll only see on Patreon. The link is at the end. Dozens of shows you'll never see on YouTube. I just don't have time to edit it all. Doctor Who, Person of Interest, One Punch Man, Chainsaw Man, Steven Universe, Centaur World, New My Little Pony, Chucky. So many new shows started. There's a bunch of clips and stuff on YouTube, but the full episode's Patreon. Check it out. If not, Campaign 2, Episode 36, Talks Machina. I feel like, for some reason, the audio, I don't know.
Is that how you're supposed to say?
No.
Guys, we have some crit
I'm
roll
dying
stats
down my
tonight,
audio, just in
brought to you
case.
From our friends at Crit Roll
Crit
Stats.
roll stats. See, sometimes when I
We're
yell,
4
it
games
spikes.
in.
Ah.
The Dallas Cowboys
Sorry if I'm
are at a
screaming in your
50% weight, wrong stat.
I'm doing that. I'm going to a 3.
But
Ed put that in there, didn't
we
he?
won this weekend.
We did.
We did.
Yes, much love.
Ed can eat it.
Thanks. Yeah.
Bobby
Ed's a Rams fan,
Tarantino,
guys.
but
out
it's in
there. I
Rick
know I
and
saw
Morty
some
font.
tweets. There's some critters that are also Ram fans.
And a Giants fan.
We do not
but
recognize
he doesn't
those
Ram fans.
They are ignored.
We don't.
By Brian
yeah.
Foster, yeah.
Hey
LA
guys,
Rams.
the Mighty Nine
Ram
got their
fans.
140th kill in this episode.
Wow, really?
Can anyone guess what it was?
We're like Bruce
The
Willis in the
Harpy.
Die Hard movie.
What it was? The Harpy.
Yeah, that is a lot of kills.
Which specific kill? Knots. Knots kill.
Yeah.
Muntraps is
It
right
was.
there.
It was. Do you know?
I say Knots
Which
kill.
one it was?
Yes. Do you know who killed the harpy that made the stat?
No, actually.
Who killed the harpy that made the
Let's
stat?
say
I think I'm
Caduceus.
supposed to be right here with my
Boom.
volume, so I'm gonna go
Not against the fourth harpy.
here. Not against the fourth harpy.
Man,
I
I was
was
so
right.
close to
I just
having
guessed.
the
I had
answer to
no
all that.
That's all
logic
the
behind
wheels
any of
turning and
that. I
everything.
just
Yep.
like not.
This is the third
Kiri
time
in the middle.
Fjord, played by you,
Not
Travis,
had the
has used
140th
the
kill. I should
dodecahedron.
get a
And the
I get a
second time,
prize.
he's put a fragment of possibility to use.
You cool kid.
Yeah.
I thought I'd only used it twice, so that's news to me.
Oh, really?
You've used it twice, but you've absorbed it 3 times, and then 1 time you didn't use it.
Oh, nice! Wow.
Nice.
That's literally what he just said.
This man knows a lot about Critical Role.
Is it?
I was paying attention.
Oh man,
Not.
he's just
day.
so pretty. I can't really.
I know.
I'm
come
not
on,
drinking.
guys.
It's too early.
I
It's
got my
like Saturday
shots this
morning.
week.
Too early for drinking.
Well, it's time for questions from our fans. Look at us.
Questions from the
7:07
fans.
p.m. Getting to the questions.
So proud.
Can you believe it?
Scheduled?
Before 10 minutes
Yeah, is that a
in.
scheduled time? But we're.
This is weird.
That's a record.
We should talk about something else for a little bit. Guys, Ramses 32 has a question for Travis.
32.
Stonejaw, Strongjaw, and now Captain Tusktooth. I'm guessing Laura came up with Ronan's name.
That's fucked up.
Making fun
Danny
of
and I
Travis.
saw this on Reddit.
Stonejaw, Strongjaw.
And it was sort
and
of
now
one of
Captain
those, if this is the
Tusktooth.
only question we get to.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
Be
funny.
good.
He's knocking him. Ronan
No.
is the child's
Laura
name.
did not come up
The
with it,
child.
nor did I.
Actually, yeah, tell the story because that's something that we didn't get to on
Yeah.
either of your Between the Sheets, and now they both have
That
been.
actually is
like,
really
you know, like
comfortable.
own
It's almost like an
runes.
armrest.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes,
very,
pass
very
the
plush.
runes.
We had like a finalist list of names. We had like a top 3, and we weren't really vibing on any one of them more than the others. And we went to a party,
I
and
dig
we were
Ronan.
talking
Ronan's
with a
a
friend of ours
cool
that was on a
name.
plane, and they had their son there, and he was actually very well behaved. And so we were like, "Oh, how did you do that?" Blah blah blah. And we were talking about the name choice. And they were throwing out some just like gnarly suggestions, and she was like, "You should do like Odin." And I was like, "Oh, actually that would be cool, but I'm Thor, and that's a little too on the nose." And she was like,
Right.
"Well, what about Ronan?" And we both went like, Ronan.
Yeah.
Yes. That's so.
That's
she
what
was like,
they
"Really?"
did.
We were like, "Yeah."
They turned into
So we started like
possessed
chopping it
souls.
around people, and you get
Yeah,
certain
because you
reactions.
asked
But
Ashley and I
I loved
said,
it. Yeah.
I mean, there's
Obviously,
that
we're the
Robert De
final
Niro
say,
movie,
so yeah,
Ronan.
I see.
There's
I know.
Ronan
Paperwork and
in
everything was set in stone.
What is
And
it?
you choose,
Samurai
like you
type
choose the
things?
definition of the name that you want to
Ronin
live by. You know, like a
Hawkeye,
samurai
was
who has
Ronin?
lost his master or has no master. Also, apparently in modern day Japan, it means he who has
Japan.
not passed his entrance exam. So I don't
Oh, weird.
really care about
That's
that part
interesting.
Now
very
that's
much.
the D&D version.
Yeah.
Wave Man.
I mean, my name means crossroads. What's in a name? What's in a name?
Yeah, I've heard. I used to
you
watch
at
a lot of
the-
samurai
I just
movies
told her
when I
I
was
can't
younger.
sing 'em.
18 of them
Ronin
in your
were a big
graduating
deal.
class.
Oh, Matthew.
Yeah, yeah. It's real popular in the early 80s.
Some with one T.
Yeah.
18 Matthews in your graduating class?
Approximately.
When I was in first grade,
Exactly.
Really? I mean, that is probably. If
when
I
was in
think
first
about it,
grade,
I
there
had
was
at
5
least
Brians and
5 or
2
6.
Brian Fs. And so they ended up just calling me the one who will not last.
Title.
Hey, look at us,
one
guys.
who
It's
will
7:10.
I
Next question.
was the
Matt
only
Mercer,
Jason
Yes.
in my
Chewy Danvers wants to
grade,
know.
I believe.
Denver. Look at that.
When I was in
person's
middle
Chewy.
school, at least,
Yeah.
we didn't have a whole lot of
Yep.
people, maybe
Yeah.
60 people.
Got there.
I was the only Jason.
How exactly do you go about DMing
But
on
I'm
the
Jay.
open ocean? Does
Jays,
it make
there
it
were a
harder
few
to plan
different
encounters?
names, though.
And what goes into DMing an open ocean session?
I've had a Josh that
learning,
was a
aren't we?
J, a John that was a J.
We're doing
Like,
something.
Yeah, for
No,
me,
Jason is Jay.
It's
That's
part
it.
of trying to
Illegal.
think of what kind of interesting things can be found along the journey. There are a few things you guys didn't see, and I basically made myself a small chart. Of
I would love to
every
see the
ad roll to
things
see what
they
may
missed.
possibly happen, and there's a good
like
chance
things
something
that
will,
may
'cause
have
that's
been, I
largely
would
what
love
happens
to
when you
just
travel
know.
on the ocean.
Like a
But when you're
fly on
off
the wall.
the
at
trade
Matt
routes like you
Mercer.
are with the current venture. You know, I use that chart to kind of keep in mind of like what might happen, and like the harpy encounter was one of them, and I kind of made it up as it occurred.
Right.
So for me, it's a lot of not forcing events necessarily every single day because
But
otherwise
having them
nobody would
ready.
ever fucking
Having
be on a
events
boat
ready to
in a
go.
fantasy world. They're like, no, that is the worst job in the world. That is no. So I went to like Mark Wahlberg from the happening there. What? No.
What? No.
But yeah, for me it was, I'm learning and trying to find it to be like both an adventurous kind of freeing sensation, you know, kind of the open sea with all this endless possibility. I kind of put up this map that you guys now have access to, where you kind of, there is a story thread you're following now, but depending on where things resolve in the future, if you guys wanted to try and just go somewhere on that map, you know, figure that out. I wanted to kind of
Fjord,
build a space where you guys
Travis.
can sandbox a little bit.
It's a dope map, honestly.
Travis had Fjord.
Finally came in.
Get tons of supplies. We got a month's worth of supplies. I
Open up
think
the world, Final
he's got
Fantasy
plans.
style.
But yeah, it's
Danny
I guess
Cam.
for
Does
DMing
Danny
it,
Cam? Does
it's
Danny
allowing
know
enough
when the
intrigue and
cam's on her? I don't
possibility
think
out there
so.
where the players
I don't think
can
Danny's
utilize
controlling the
shit
Danny
they have at their
cam,
disposal
so
to
she
go
didn't
look
look
for
like she
what
knew
these
the
different
cam was
threads
on
might
her.
lead to, and coming up with interesting encounters that
My nose is
both
itching.
capitalize
help
on
me.
the region and capitalize on the limitations of being on the ship too.
But you know them so well.
I like that
by
we both
now
have Curies.
That is when you're preparing. Is there one way that you go? I'm pretty sure they're gonna go. I'm still gonna prep 2 or 3 other things.
That's how most
but, like,
DMing works. Once you've gotten to play with your players for a little bit,
You know what they're gonna do,
You begin
kinda.
to get a sense of the general possibility they'll go in this direction.
Yeah.
Because you can't prep every possibility.
Right.
You would go
But
crazy.
you kind of know what
so
your
you
people
go, this
will
is
do.
probably where they're going, and I'll put a lot more effort probably into this path, and then I'll pepper through a few other loose ideas, and sometimes they'll go the path you expect, and you're like, yes, I prepared properly. And sometimes they'll go completely in the fucking opposite direction. You're like, okay, let's see where this goes. And then eventually
On
you
the
try to
fly.
marry
I
it
dig it,
or
though.
just
That's-
follow the
makes
path
sense.
where it ends up leading.
You plan
who was
like
the
one
NPC in the first campaign
path
that you had to
that
make
you'd
up like
think is
randomly
the
out of
way they
nowhere,
were
and then ended
going.
up becoming a bigger.
Have little
Victor
branches
and
in case.
Sinecure were two that
was
got
what I
made
was
up
thinking
on
of,
the
but I forgot
spot.
about
Yeah.
Victor too. Yeah. Okay.
Creepy ass voice.
Yep.
You guys went, you know what? You know what we're gonna do today? It's a Tuesday. Let's go to the fire plane. You want to go to the City of Brass? Sure. I'm like, right. Didn't finish that preparation. It happens.
It's just in your brain. And then we had
go.
one of the best NPCs ever.
Yeah, and the whole
where the fuck he came
Tormented
from.
for Ashley for ages.
See, I
that
feel like
box,
you'd have
man,
like
that
great
box
things
was-
come of that, kind of like Travis is saying there.
She kept waiting for
I
it to
feel like
little
you'd
shop of
have-
horrors, and it never did.
Nope. Not sometimes.
Like
sometimes
just
box of
on the
ashes is
fly,
just a
you'd
box
be
of
check on the box,
forced
guys?
into
Can we go check on the box?
creativity.
Yeah.
Can we go check in the box?
Well, you never know, man.
You never know.
I still
with
think
Marcy.
y'all are gonna go back. Like the Mighty Nine are gonna end up going to Tal'dorei, and that box is gonna have that tree is gonna have just been wreaking havoc.
Danny,
Yeah,
Theories.
seriously.
I have theories.
Whipping tendrils.
don't steal Matt's idea.
People impaled on its thorns.
Just ashes, guys.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Ashes, ashes. Guys, sprawl.
Danny,
sprawl.
like, see, I never know if Matt is serious. I feel like Matt really is going somewhere.
I don't
I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Sprawl.
Mine.
We're all
mine.
sleep deprived and
Yep.
go continue, please.
Guys, stay on track here. Can't believe I'm the one that has to call out you guys on staying on target here. Normally it's the other way around.
Stay on target.
This for both of you. How much research are you doing on boats, sailing, etc., to help prepare for the game now that the gang is on the ocean? You guys both know
I know
a fair
nothing.
amount about
We've talked
boats
about this. I know
already
nothing about boats.
and how a boat
I've-
works. Travis, you know a
the
little bit. You've
only
thrown
thing
out
I've
some
ever been on
terms.
is a ferry.
Yeah, there's
I've only been on a
seats
ferry.
and a wheel and
And that's only
a
because it's so
hole.
big. I didn't really
no,
notice,
you're
and it was to
describing
get
Taliesin's
to
basement.
like New York or something like that.
Yes,
Disney
I've
World had
actually
a
gone on
ferry.
boats most of my life, more like ski boats and other like recreational crafts, not sailboats per se. I was never really a big like sunfish, even sailboat guy at like summer camp or whatever. So I know that there is a sail and a mast and a rudder and a helm and things like that. But when it comes to fucking
See, I know all
pirate
that.
ships. And the mizzen
I know all
mast and
the
the mast and the fucking
parts,
buckle
the
and the
names.
like goddamn.
I've seen
I don't know that
movies.
shit.
I just don't know what
I wrote a backstory that had
running a
sailor in
ship
it,
entails.
so
day to
one
day.
would think that I might research it a little bit. I didn't.
You were thinking Sailor Moon.
No, I didn't do that. So
And ironically, when you chose a sailor background and wrote a backstory that had some like some modicum of researched sailor lingo in it.
I think 3. I think there were 3
like 3
terms.
terms. I was like,
found them.
oh shit, Travis knows the shit about boats.
Yeah.
I should learn.
I should have fucked
So
up.
I began heavily researching elements, especially as they got close to the coast, and
So
then
Matt's like a
took
pro
this
now.
boat
Travis
out in the
just
ocean. I was
never
like, okay,
did.
I made like graphs of like all the different parts of the boat, both from an overhand view and from like the decks below.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I have my DM screen so I can reference it when I go to.
Oh, lucky you, Travis, because you know what you get now is Matt going, you would know from previous experience that, and then he spills out all this shit that he had to research because you did.
I was just trying to keep up with him. I didn't want
That's
Travis
what I
to,
figured, yeah,
giving me
Matt was trying to
terminology
keep
about
up.
what he was doing is for.
Because you don't want to sound like you know more than the
I can't
DM.
have to hold, this thin veneer of confidence behind that screen. And so I was like, all right, cool, I'm keeping up with Travis. And then we get to that moment in the campaign and he gives me this look like, what? I'm like, oh, come on, man. You're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls.
I should have read like, I raised the tapestry and the boat goes away. Like, I figure we hop on
Raise the
airships
tapestry.
and horses, and it's never like, how do you lace the saddle up or how do you adjust the stirrups? Like, when we got on the boat, I was like, we get in the boat and we leave. And then he's like, how do you leave? Like, what? What are you talking
The
about?
narrative thrives on detail, Travis.
Oh, I know, but
In all honesty,
just raise up some sheets and leave. You got to describe that
Well, it
shit.
was also the fact that you were the only person that knew how to sail on that boat,
That's that part. Yeah.
and nobody else had any previous
I
experience.
feel like it wouldn't have
and
been
you
a lot of
cannot
work
hop
to
on
at
the boat.
least just know how
Everybody
to
in this
get
world
the
knows
boat
how to
going.
operate a boat, right?
Like if you
Riding a
knew it was
horse.
coming up,
Everybody can
I
ride
hear
a
Matt.
horse.
Matt should have. I mean,
So
Travis should have at
Every
least
actor who
known
puts
what
on
to
their
say,
resume
like do
that
the
they know
thing
how to
and
ride a
start
horse
the
until
engines,
they get to
even though there's
set
no
and are
engines.
suddenly faced with having to ride a horse. And then it's like, oh fuck, I don't actually know how to ride a horse.
Technically,
plus, yeah.
until they fall off the horse, they do know how to ride a horse.
I mean,
That's
yes, but still, I'm just saying. Everybody has that moment of like, I'm just gonna lie on this. It's totally fine. I speak Mandarin on my resume.
Right.
Hey, you're the only one in the office who knows how to speak Mandarin.
There you go.
Right.
Shit.
I've tried to do a little bit more research in the ample amounts of time that I have, just because.
I feel like that wouldn't
spoiled
have been
by-
too
by
much
Matt,
research,
right?
though.
Like,
I would have just
literally-
looked
no, I
up
literally
how
thought that
does one
we would get on the boat
signal
and we'd
to
be like,
start
okay, we shove off
sailing.
and we head out to sea. And I never thought about the fact that nobody had been on a boat before and that I was the only one that had a sailor background.
I
and
mean,
that
I
might
get
need
what
to,
he's
like,
saying.
dole out
It's just
orders and
something-
shit. And
hey,
I was just like,
I've done it
Caleb's
before. I ain't gonna
below
rag
decks
on him.
with an enforcer.
He's basically
super
saying,
squishy. I'm gonna go
I
help.
just didn't even
And then
go
Bo's
there,
like,
and I've
Fjord, how do
I've
I
been there.
sail? This is fucking typical for today. This is just typical.
It wouldn't have been a major issue.
I
if you
would
guys
have
had, like,
probably
booked
looked into it though,
passage.
just to
Totally, right?
sound
It wasn't on
cool.
us.
I don't know
Somebody
if I
there to
would have
operate
so
the
much
boat.
thought
Right.
of
And
it.
that's the thing is like there were plenty
So
of
I'd
people
be
that had, and I was kind of
prepared. I would have
expecting there
tried to
be,
look like a badass.
an eventual
Like,
point in the narrative
do
and
this
Nick
and do
Nicodranas
that.
where you would have like hired a ship
Full
to take you on
steam
board
ahead.
or
Like, I don't know, I
here you're
would've tried
going.
to be cool
I
about
wasn't
it.
expecting you to just like almost out of the gate hijack one
We didn't
with
steal.
no crew.
We didn't steal an airship last year. We fucking rented. We bought a ticket. We took a ride.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that part. I was like, we go, and you'll be like, you go.
That's true when you buy a ticket.
Yeah, when you buy a ticket.
But I
Yeah.
love it. It's
I-
making
hey.
a very different approach
I
to,
like
to
it.
the
It
narrative.
made
than
it
I was
real. It
expecting.
brought
It's
realism
important.
to the scenario.
I should have done a moderate level of research on something that I have really no experience in, just to be more familiar with it. And so it's causing me now to catch up to the homework that you did.
that I'm proud of.
See, there you go.
See, now he
Thank
is
you.
doing his
Yes. I
homework.
will
Now that's what
probably-
I'm assuming.
We'll
At
see
this
how
point,
this
it's
week
like
goes, being
he's
in front of a
gotta
live crowd.
to
I'm sure I
save
will
face
embarrass
now.
myself to tears,
Like
and it'll
Travis,
all
you
be
weren't
fine.
prepared. Now
That's
you
right.
have
That's
to
right.
outshine Matt
This
Mercer.
is such a weird metaphor for your guys' friendship.
I was trying to catch up with you. I was trying to catch up with you. I was trying to catch up with you.
So good to me.
I love it. Guys, oh, there we go. Why are you showing me when that's happening? God damn it.
We saw it.
Oh,
We saw
man,
it,
there
Brian.
goes my Tumblr time later.
Yep.
IMB Tyler wants to know, Matt,
Yes.
how do you feel about the Mighty Nein picking up Orly, especially being a fan-sourced NPC? Did you intentionally leave the navigator spot hard to fill because you hoped they would try to recruit everyone's new favorite turtle?
In those moments, I expected Orly was going to hopefully be a consistent source of information for the time they were in Nicodranas.
That's
His
what I
attachment
thought. But then it sounded like we were
Nepal,
leaving.
To Marius.
I was very
and
surprised
mentioning
we
that if
got
they needed to
Orly.
go and find a way to book passage somewhere, I was hoping that Orly would be eventually a character that they could go to and I give him a nudge to be like, this person might be a help to you. He seems to be well connected. when they'd stolen the ship and really only had one person who had any idea of what their position was in the boat, they can't get anywhere without a navigator. And I remember I'd previously kind of designed him to be kind of a navigator, second mate type character. So it made sense in the time. The only other figure they know that has already told them that they have that skill set is this turtle. And it allowed me the possibility of having
funny thing
this
is,
awesome community
most
created NPC
forgot,
be a little more
including
prominent
myself.
in the story. It also means
I
I
don't
have to be
remember the
ready to
navigator
drop
thing.
into that one-eyed
Damn
Cajun
baby.
fucking more often.
God, I'm so
Killing it.
happy.
So good.
It's so much fun.
I mean, and
It's
if
so
we had
good.
not
It's hard to pay
hijacked the
attention to what
ship,
you're saying because you're just
we
grinning
wouldn't have
at the way
needed
you're
a
saying it.
navigator.
Like, it's so
At least not
funny.
right now. It all worked out
that
quite
it's
beautifully.
a near impossible task, but I hope there's some epic cosplay that happens with. I feel like
my
that's
God.
going to be a
Yeah.
hard costume, but I know you guys can do it.
Yeah,
You could do anything.
I feel
I've seen
like,
people do like spot-on Krogans from Mass Effect.
I
You
mean,
can pull off an
it
Orly.
would
Yeah,
involve
it's
details.
fascinating.
I bet you by now
It's
there's
trying
been
to
some
talk to people
awesome
in the accents that's going
cosplays.
to be hard, but they could just listen.
I
to
wanna
you
see the
do it over and
bagpipe
over, like
shell.
that.
Man, so they have this amazing Jester cosplayer that put up the video recently.
God,
that-
the donut?
Yeah,
Oh my
like, this
fucking
community keeps
butt. That was crazy
Laura
good.
was like,
incredible
"Oh,
stuff.
Oh,
fuck,
with the
that sounds
donut.
Just like me.
Yeah, it
I
was
was like,
amazing.
yeah,
I
it's
think
really
some of
good.
us retweeted that, but Danny, find that and retweet it from the Talks account if you don't mind,
So
so
good.
we can
Okay.
show
Can
we see
people
it?
who didn't get to see it. Ended up
I
on the
wanna see
Reddit
it
too. I
now.
was so glad to see her getting a lot of love.
I want to see
Travis.
it now, Danny.
Now this
Show me.
person's screen name is something we can all hope for. Whale World Peace wants to know. When Fjord dipped his falchion in the sea, was he trying to reach out to his patron? Is Fjord expecting more visions, dreams, or other forms of contact now that he's in and around the ocean?
I mean, yes, in a roundabout kind of way. Like, I think it's been a while since
I would
he
say
had
yes,
a vision.
I agree.
And he knows that every time he uses the sword in a powerful manner, there's like a spray of, salt water. And when he brought everybody to the beach, there was a moment that, it was so funny, there was a moment that I wished I did later on the drive home, which had just been like trying some simple like movements and maybe some patterns and repetitions with the sword from the days that he was trained in it, and seeing if the ocean would react in some way. And it was somebody fucking did it as fan art, like
yeah,
later
that's
that
right.
week. I
That's
was like,
actually,
"Who was in my
I mean,
brain?
see,
Oh
things
my
like
God."
that are, in my mind,
But I did
less
want to at some
likely,
point
but
either go down in like the middle of the night or
try
something
it.
and just see if the sword
I try it.
reacted with water, and it didn't, right? And I didn't know if that might trigger a vibration or if I would feel something or if there would be a connection, because I right now that avenue of communication just seems one-sided. I don't know if there's another way to, star 69 that motherfucking phone.
Star 69. What a callback. Star
69?
Man.
Star 66.
For all you young viewers.
Star
What did you type
69
to
was
block your number
callback.
so
Star
you couldn't see what it
66
was?
was
Star-
they give you the
67.
phone number of the person
87?
who
It
just
was
called.
67, wasn't
So
it?
I think it was all sixes.
Damn, maybe I
Oh.
maybe I had it wrong, and I thought my number was
Man,
blocked.
you're like,
Star
oh,
69. No, I think it was Star 69.
Connected
Was it?
them
I
to
think
a
it was Star
landline.
69.
Damn, Doug Foster keeps thinking
Star
he's blocking
66
his number.
was-
He just won't stop calling.
You get
Hey,
the,
it's me,
the
Jim
phone
again.
would tell you who
Okay,
just
Jim.
called. I think Star
Jim.
69 would dial
Well,
it back.
speaking of Jim, let's give away
There was all
tonight's
sorts of codes
GIF
on
of the week.
landlines. I don't know if any of that
Ever.
even works anymore. Probably not. GIF of the week. We're halfway through, guys.
Yep.
What do you have to
God, I
say
love
about
those little
that?
animations.
I know.
Thank you, Wendy Doodles. Our winner for GIF of the Week of episode 35 of Campaign 2 was sent in by Jacob Honeycutt. At Jacob Honey, let's take a look.
Laughter. Oh, God, look at Tal'dorei. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
What is this during? Which part is this? Why
This was-
is he so distraught?
This was like early
all
on,
you guys
right?
were focused on each other during the first 20 minutes of the campaign.
Everyone's
He's, like, going
losing
through
it.
it.
And his
That one is
having
short
his
and
breakdown
sweet,
on
but
that
to
side
the
of the
point,
ship.
and I dig
Oh,
it.
right.
Very,
So good. I love Tal'dorei so much.
very short,
There
but
are
to the
so
point.
many
Some of those
real-life
gifts are
times
forever
that I can use that
young.
GIF. Oh man, for stuff.
Some of them go on for a while,
that
and
was,
they're almost
that
like
was junior
some of them
year.
have been.
Slaughtered everybody.
That you have to
Ah.
pause it. It goes by so fast.
Yep.
That one was done
he's
very
got a
well.
little bit of a
Simple,
different
but
worldview.
I love him
effective.
so much.
I can't wait to bring him on
Appreciate it.
again and talk about some of the interesting stuff.
Tal'dorei has also
going
been
on.
doing some
Producers are
interesting
getting-
looks
We're getting behind
with
some
the
of
whole
that,
character.
Yeah, man, he's
that
dropping
character.
that lore.
And I
Yeah.
dig it. I dig the direction he's
Congrats
going.
to you, Jacob. You have won this.
Congrats to you, Jacob.
Wildamount dice set.
The Wildamount.
Yeah.
Wildamount, Wild
Don't
Mount.
do it, man. I'm fragile.
Wildamount.
Now these, Daniel, give me some love on my.
Oh, you
see
just
that?
broke their die.
But you're quick.
Did you see that shit, my man?
Oh, he
I
did
did.
catch it?
These are awesome. Daniel, would it help you if I didn't put my other hand in the way?
This is
So these
Michael.
are like.
Might help your
Michael,
hands.
if you're watching,
Sweaty.
I have
not
them right
sweaty,
in front of
they're
me.
lubricated.
My set of
Guys.
die that Michael bought me at the Ren Fair. Well, gave it to me at the Ren Fair for my birthday. I'm gonna roll my D20.
Oh, yes.
It's a 19.
Gotta get ready
a
for the
natural
trip.
19.
Don't
Obviously,
forget.
because I have no modifier.
I'm sorry, Danny. I forgot
Or
there
did
was
you
a.
Well moisturized, all right?
I just kidding. 19.
Come on.
That's the
Forgot there
second
was a
time I ever
youngster
rolled that
in the room.
dice.
Danny, I apologize.
We did it on live
Guys,
stream. That's the second time I
forget
ever rolled that.
To submit.
I think when I
Forget for the week
rolled
by
it the first
emailing
time, it
your
was
gift
what,
to
an 11?
Submit.
I think it was an 11.
At talksmachina.com. Congrats, Jacob.
That
Moving.
the dice has
on.
weight to it, man. These things got
Matt.
weight to
Yes.
it. Almost feel
Oh,
magnetic.
Liam's not here to
Maybe
do the
they
voice,
are.
Danny. Cuttlefish 333 wants to know. Liam, normally
We've had
thank you. Do it
cuttlefish
again.
before, I feel like.
It's pretty close.
Cuttlefish,
That
yeah, right? Liam's done it.
Cuttlefish 333. Matt, the scene with the jellyfish was very beautiful and atmospheric.
Thank you, Matt.
Did you have that planned for the night, no matter no matter who took watch, or for when it was the right moment?
When I said like I had that thing that I roll, that series of possible
That's
things,
funny I brought up Michael
some
with the
of it's
dice.
nothing.
Because Michael
Some elements
said,
of it
oh,
are just
damn, I missed the
natural,
jellyfish in the live stream.
Beautiful things that are
And
growing.
I
have,
did-
like natural
I
sights
didn't
of beauty.
acknowledge it,
as
but
one
I
of the
was
choices.
listening while we were
And, 'cause
watching
it's
it
fun.
happen.
They're new to the ocean. A lot of them are new to the ocean, and just
were doing a
having
lot
these
of
things they pass by
talking
that are breathtaking or ominous. I want those to just be part of the narrative as well, not everything be just either you're fighting something or you're not. Yeah. And so when they're out that night, depending on when people roll high perception, and what had come up from that roll, for there it was a natural sight of beauty. And so I was like, what would make sense tonight that they would see with a low light? How about a jellyfish
Kiri in
bloom
front
that is
of
giving
the
off a bit of kind
settings,
of
and I can't see if
bioluminescent
things are running
energy,
appropriately.
and it just worked out really well. It was an improvised part of the narrative based on a few rolls, and then
No. Too damn smart.
Oh,
this guy.
cool. I just came up with this fucking amazing thing on the
know.
spot. I hate
know.
hearing shit like that because. Because it's like. If I tried to plan something and I wrote it out and I edited
mad.
it and
He's
I wrote
jealous
it, and I
of the
wrote it, I would
creativity.
never get the prose as beautiful as
I
how
feel
you
like
drew it.
some
And
of
the fact
my
that-
off-the-cuff
I'd be like,
stuff,
whale
though,
breaks
is
the
better than
surface,
anything I
like,
prepare. I feel like when I prepare
man.
something,
Get a fin cam
I
over and
always,
crush the
you
ship.
get a little
Come on.
nervous, you think you
Your
forgot
brain
things,
is a
you're trying to
beautiful
go
thing.
off a
Did you watch
script.
a lot of Planet
I feel like
Earth?
when you're off the cuff,
watched a lot
some
of
of your
Planet
best
Earth.
stuff
Me too.
comes
It's
out.
pretty great.
Because
Travis,
you're just
Let's get his brain insured.
like,
I've been saying it for
no
quite some
filter
time.
kind of thing.
Don't know if that's possible, but
we-
I'll look into it.
Maybe, yeah. Could we maybe clone it?
I think you need to get like a
I have some
biopsy of it
taxes
first.
I need to pay.
please.
Okay.
I've said this before. I see like Grace
Danny
Randolph
Spud
reads
2
off a script.
has a
You can
question for
clearly
you.
see
Danny
when she
Spud
does her
2.
reviews.
Danny Spud,
She is
so-
reading off a
Danny
script and it
Spud.
comes
No,
off
it's
so
A
unnatural.
and why? There it is. It's
okay.
right
And I
here.
still watch her from time to time. It's not
know why
like
it's
it
not like it needed to be
makes it
done that
worse.
way.
It did.
I just feel like when you read, when you're
Thank
that
you.
scripted,
Nickelbuck.
it comes off
Nickelbuck?
so
Nickelbuck?
unnatural, and I don't
The Nickelback
believe
cover
you.
band, Nickelback.
Almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Like I feel like someone wrote it for you or something.
Travis,
We're taking a dark turn.
you reeled off, yeah, anytime Nickelback is invoked, you reeled off an impressive amount of info about the sea and islands around this area. Was all this just things you knew already from Matt, or did you memorize it ready for this week's episode?
He
since
sounded
you guys
like
knew
he
you'd
knew
be
what he
out
was talking about.
in the areas.
For the most part, it sounded
Actually, there was so
like
the
he
map
knew.
that came out. I got like a quick sneak peek at it before the game started, and I love like reefs just from scuba diving and stuff. So I
Yeah.
just memorized those because I figured if most of the trade routes didn't go over reefs, so if we were to hit one of those, that would be one thing that would be immediately dangerous to a ship. And I just loved the names that he came up with. I couldn't remember which ones were around an island because I
quite
think there
windy outside
are
if you hear
two that are around
leaves
an
and
island,
stuff.
one that's next to an island, and then another two that aren't. They don't have land masses around them. And so I just rattled that off, and then the third one, I guess, was the one that was the closest. But I had said, you know, are we gonna? Do I know like the Lucidian Ocean? He was like, yes. So that's why you get like this early little sneak peek at it. But I'm not.
People's backgrounds tie into certain areas.
When he
I'll
says
email them
before the
information
game, did he
that
say
their
like
character would know about the world
immediately,
that
like,
perhaps other characters
hey, the
wouldn't?
game's about to start.
So it's not just me
Take a
always
look at
giving
this
the
map real
information, it
quick,
gives that
or
character
like
and that
the
player an
night
opportunity
before
to
he
be
got
like,
to
oh,
study it. It
actually,
sounds like he got a
I
real
am, you know, a
quick
little more of an
sneak
expert
peek,
in
I
this
think he
than
said.
the other people are.
Yeah.
It's a cool way of empowering the player, part of their story.
Yeah, because he's
It's
not
like
Caleb
you
doesn't
get
remember it,
to
like,
look at
you know,
this for
photographic
5 minutes
memory, things
before
like
the
that,
game
but
starts.
Nice to be able to say like,
That's what it
is it one
sounds
of
like.
these three, and
If it
have a
wasn't
good
specific
roll.
enough.
'Cause shit roll, and we go the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Fair to say Caleb has a pyrographic memory.
Oh.
Look at he looks at the
Hey,
I was the
It-
dad.
guys,
the look
under
at
the-
the
That
that
camera
wasn't a dad joke. That
makes
was
it
I never
funny
had
even
a
if it's
dad
not.
joke.
Oh my god! I never had a dad joke.
Had to look over at Max
I've never
to see
heard
if we
that.
lost him. Make sure
I've
he
never
wasn't
heard
gonna
that before,
blow
but
dart
that's
me.
pretty
Matt,
funny.
Yes.
I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of
Clockwork Jack
but I dig it.
has a question for you.
Clockwork Jack.
As a dungeon master, how does it feel to have a character with such godlike perception as Caduceus in the party? Does it ever change the way you plan the story, or it just makes things more interesting for the audience?
For me, I think it makes things more interesting for the party. I mean, there have been a number of things in the past that nobody ever noticed.
Yeah, why the fuck is he so perceptive? What's the
He has
deal?
a super high wisdom, and he took proficiency in perception and insight. He's just a very naturally insightful,
Very
that's kind of what
intuitive
Cuttlefish was the last
person,
campaign.
in touch with everything.
You know, in a way. And Vex had a really high perception as well. But not a lot of you guys put a lot of emphasis in being able to perceive and suss out the intentions of other characters and figures. And when Taliesin made Caduceus, he like specifically engineered him to be this very sensitive, very open, very perceptive figure, and it's already made
He's
a lot
right.
of
I would never
situations where
have
I'm
thought
like,
to do that.
all you guys
It's-
missed everything except for you, Caduceus. You figured this thing out, or like all of you guys, you can keep moving. Caduceus, you see the strange object. You know,
I've said
it's been
before,
kinda
there's
cool.
a lot of
Once
traits
again, you
I
wanna
dig,
reward a player
but
for their
personally I
strengths.
probably wouldn't
You
go
know,
with.
there
But
are
on
some people
my
that are much
second
better
or
at combat
third
scenarios and will get the
go-around,
most kills,
I
and those ones
might,
are awesome.
and Taliesin's done
Some
it a
players
few
that are really
times.
good at you know, clever solutions to problems
I
through
mean, this
spell
is
use
technically the
or,
third
you know,
character I've
ingenuity.
seen, not
There are some
counting
players
one-shots.
that you know, like Caduceus, who specifically his character is really good at noticing unseen details about things around him. And these are opportunities now to reward him for building a character who's focused on that.
Was he
It
always
also
like
makes
that from
sense
the first episode, or
'cause
just over
Percy
the last two? It feels like he's
and
really
Molly
like
were
dropped
way more
the fucking hammer.
different.
perception.
He's always had a high perception, but
Not
it's just
like
there's
Caduceus.
only been a handful of moments where it's been able to really shine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where it's called into play, really.
Road for like a really long time, and
Thought he was
Exactly.
like a fucking psychic for a little while in this last episode. It's like, what the shit?
Yeah, just most of the Mighty Nine are just like, cool, whatever's going on.
Hey man, we're not we're fucking shallow.
Not just shallow, you're
We're
just
preoccupied.
Not
you're
Yeah.
preoccupied.
Preoccupied.
I was gonna say I wouldn't
You
say
got your own
shallow.
shit here.
Distracted.
preoccupied with being selfish.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it kind of makes sense for Caduceus too. Caduceus being a person that seeing a lot of these things you guys are experiencing for the first time, and being very open and eager to kind of to take in all these new sights and experiences. I like the fact that he's also one that goes like, "This is pretty cool." Wait, you know, it's a fun quirk for him against the rest of you.
Yeah, that's
His RP is nuts as this character.
Oh, God.
When he says something, it's a fucking gold mine. Like when he finally does say
agree.
something, because I feel like he's a lot more quiet. He's just sort of getting in there when he needs
Even
to.
though
And when he
he's
does,
still
it's like it
quiet
cuts.
as
Well, I
this
will say too,
character,
Taliesin, as we've all seen,
he's still
is
way
a
more
clever
talkative. I feel
motherfucker.
like than he
yeah.
was as Molly.
Completely.
And
Molly
I've
was
almost always
never saying
exclusively in
nothing.
all the years I've played with him, he's played intelligent characters because it's a comfortable space for him to be able to play up that kind of
Never saying
intellectual
nothing.
superiority,
that totally
aspect that he
contradicts
enjoys,
what I
kind of really like battling with wits.
Yeah.
And then when he made Caduceus and decided to put it into a 9 intelligence, it's been really fascinating for me, who's been playing with him for so long, to see him for the first time
I feel
play a
like
very high
in
wisdom,
Molly's
low
case,
intelligence
Molly
character.
didn't want anybody
Yeah.
asking questions,
Oh,
so
sorry.
Molly just
So now
never
you know.
spoke.
if I watched back the show, I would see it.
Yeah, it's in the
Exactly.
thing. I don't think it's a big
It's not-
surprise.
it's not a big
but yeah,
secret.
Caduceus is a little slower than the rest of the group, but he's very open to the subtleties of the world around him.
he doesn't
And,
know.
and I was like, I don't know how Taliesin's going to play this, and he's been doing it. The more comfortable he gets to the character, especially, he's doing it
Beautifully.
wonderfully.
Oh, man.
Beautifully.
So
Yeah.
good.
Mine's swinging
Your
now.
mind's blown.
Yeah.
I feel like if I knew
always trying to piece
Caduceus
together
longer,
the
he'd be
X-Men,
a
right?
top
And-
pick
and,
for
like,
me.
the last two
But being
episodes,
as
you
I
really
just
saw
know
Caduceus
everybody
doing
else
his
a
thing, and I was like,
lot
we are
longer as characters,
misutilizing him in a
I just
huge way.
have more
Right, let's-
connection to them.
let's drain
But
him for
Caduceus
all
is
he's
up
worth.
there
Yeah.
already,
At
likability
least send him out like 40 yards ahead of in front of everybody else. Like,
Yeah,
just,
let's-
you know.
That's
I
what
I
everybody do
also
with the cleric to
wonder if
save your
something
life.
more is going on with him
The very
beyond his
front of the
family.
Yeah,
party.
you've always got
Just
Jester, aka Battle
kind of
Mercy.
leaving him there on the
But you
cemetery.
just need to acknowledge it. All right.
Fair enough.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, push him out there. Jester will heal everyone.
Yep. Never. Never.
Travis, take my
Great
mind off the
looks
fact
at
Laura
the
might
camera.
have seen what I just said by answering this question from Prof. Nesbit.
Prof. Nesbit.
Prof. Nesbit.
Prof. Nesbit.
Was the
let's do it.
discomfort in leading the group this week a Fjord thing or a Travis thing or both?
I think it was
leading.
both.
I thought he said
I
leaving.
think it was
I'm
both.
like leaving.
I don't typically like to give people orders, right? And Fjord was like a first mate on the ship. That's where
I
he,
run
that's high as he
several
rose,
businesses
just
where
out of
you
favor
have to
that he had
be
with his
a leader.
former captain. But
I feel like he's looking at it like
in
a
my
negative
mind, those were
thing.
people that he had
You're
worked
just
with
making
for
sure
years,
people
right? And so there was
do
like
their
this,
part and stay in
this
line.
kinship and like a
Someone's
shared
gotta
sense
keep
of labor.
people in
and,
line.
I think he was receiving orders from the captain, and then therefore, and then
Like if
you, know,
you do it in
dispersing
a way
them,
where
not
you're all equals,
coming up with the
like yo,
ideas
I'm doing
himself.
this job, you
And
got
for
to
me
do
as
that
a player,
job.
I really enjoyed the luxury of an idiot for the first campaign.
We said this
you
during
know,
the live
because
stream.
I just got to be kind of
when you're
reactionary. And
when you're
if I had
the least
ideas and I could
intelligent,
think of a
the
stupid way to
laborer,
interject
you
them,
have
then I would,
zero
but
responsibility.
It is
you're
an
just like I
entirely-
pick things up, I put them
entirely
down.
different thing, and it's been kind of it's been kind of weird. Being responsible for everybody, having to make quick decisions when no one else really has any input. Like they're even on the boat. I was like, well, "What do we want to do? This is the team." And it's fucking Sam's punk ass and like Laura over there going. They're like,
Like for
"You're only
instance,
sailor." I'm
whenever
like,
there's a large object, Jester and Yasha usually powerhouse it, one or the other together.
I gotta make
That's
a
the
choice.
role. Jester's chaotic
and
and
a lot
moves
of it, and a
heavy
lot
shit.
of it is just I'm not slowing things down very well.
I mean, she's
like
got way
when the
more
ship
to
started
her
closing
than
at the end
that.
of the last episode, and I was like, I'm just gonna run this bitch aground. We're gonna get off where we have like some fighting to do. And then Matt's like, you're gonna keep going? I was like, well, yeah, we're inside the reef. He's like, you're like a mile and a half from the island. I'm like, fuck. Okay, how close is? I didn't even think to ask like, how close is the boat? What is the positioning to the boat? Draw me a little map so I can see where it is, so I can make a decision. I just like panicked, right? So I think I'm just new to quick decision making under duress. I'm getting fucking flustered super fucking easily on this
See, I
boat
feel
that
like I don't want that
understand.
role in
And
the
a lot of
game,
it is
but
just
in real
like-
life I do it. So I'm familiar
I'm a
with
sports guy, and
immediate.
when you
Like
have
that's
a
why I always
bad
say we
day
talk
in
too
your
much.
game,
Like
you're gonna sit
there's
on
a
the bench,
problem on a
right?
job.
And
I have
think
like
a lot of me was
30
looking
minutes
for
to
the
figure
bench,
out how
like
to
these
fix
last
it.
two games.
I
I
don't
was
have
like,
like hours
I
to.
didn't-
Let's go
I'm
home.
over
We'll
my
think
head,
about
like,
it. We'll
I don't
discuss.
know- I don't know what
Like
I'm
I gotta
doing,
make quick
you know?
snap
I could tell,
decisions.
not this past episode, but the week before, and Liam and Marisha and I talked about it last week. Was that who was on last week?
Yeah.
Tell you, man.
Max like I wasn't here.
Max was like, I don't fucking watch the show. You seem tilted.
Oh, totally. I
You
was
seemed
out.
a little tilted the second
was
half
out.
of
Like you
of 2
guys have
weeks
seen me
ago.
on
Yeah,
live
I had
streams.
gone far
My
under 0 hit
phone
points in
rings.
player.
I immediately pick it
right.
up.
'Cause
I'm like,
I was
I
just-
don't
I
like.
was so
Oh, I'll get them
overwhelmed.
back
Like, and
later.
I kept
like
trying
I have
little
to
things
get shit done
come back,
fast.
and then I would just fuck it up more, and then trying to come back and just fuck it up more, and I was like, God damn.
So
what
you were
did I-
upset with your performance.
Totally. Yeah, I was just frustrated with my lack of knowledge about the ship, my tactical failure, bad
I mean, none of
calls.
it's
not bad
his
rolls.
fault.
Like I saw a lot of people being like,
I mean,
oh,
he
it's a
doesn't-
bad
he
roll.
doesn't
I really
do
didn't
that
roll
kind of thing.
fucking
None of
bad. I
it's
just
his
made
fault.
stupid choices.
I just feel like he should have,
And I
like
like
he's
to
saying, been more
think that I'm a pretty,
prepared, knowing.
I think I pay
he'd probably
attention
be
to the
that
game
role.
really well and what other players are doing, and I wasn't doing
But I mean,
that
I don't
at all
fault
for
him.
whatever reason. So I was just really I was really bumming. But like most sports, this is a team game. But in individual performances, you can't always bench yourself.
Yeah.
You got to keep fucking playing, right? And so I was being a little bit of a bitch at like certain points, and then I was like, man, I'm so glad this game is over. And then this last week there was a little bit more of that residue, and I was like, fuck, I gotta figure out a way to like
he did show
shake it off and come back.
Like he should have been more accepting of it, because he did show that he was extremely nervous and unaccepting of the
rip
role.
my throat out and take over the the party at least.
But hey, I mean,
Good.
I was gonna say, like,
I don't see a problem with it. It's just
it's okay, and it's
not
it's
prepared.
totally common to have those off sessions.
Sure.
and it made it more
The fact
entertaining
that you
for
finally
us.
had
If
a
anything,
couple
it made
is
it
kind of assuring
better.
to the rest of us mortals.
If he was just like, do this and do that, and do, it would have just went
how often
right
does that
in.
happen?
Him being that way made it more
I
entertaining.
I mean, yeah. Like, how often would you say?
Well, the difference is if you have a shit moment or something
If
like
you
that.
have
At
a
least in
shit.
the last campaign, it just kind of rolled off my back because I didn't really care. Like,
Yeah.
Grog's an idiot. You can't really get mad at the idiot, or at least I didn't. I wasn't precious about it.
We have a
No one's
character
ever
now
going to
whose
look to
decisions,
Grog for
have
decision
affect other
making.
characters,
And
in a
if they
much more
do, they
broad
deserve
sense.
what they got.
Which is
That's what-
fascinating. Me and Mersh had a long conversation about specifically the difference between Grog and Fjord, and watching you stepping into this more responsible role, and how it and because of the way it affected you the last couple episodes, but also watching you step up to the task in the midst of it, especially this last episode, and kind of like coming to your own. It's been really cool and really interesting to watch you kind of take those blows, consider the effect it's having on you, what it is you want to get out of this game, and start taking even small steps towards kind of shifting that for yourself.
Yeah, I think I had a totally different idea of what my participation in the group would be like, and then the first few games, as someone who's never had high charisma before or magic, I didn't realize that when they're like, oh, you're the head, not the head, the face. The head of the group. Yeah, the face of the group. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna have to talk all the time. That was weird. And then all this stuff from this last session, right? And so in between, like that week in between, not that I have a lot of time to do it, I'm really trying to figure out like, okay, all right, how do I shift things so I don't have the repeat of that same thing? And is it like making sure that I delegate people to things and give people more responsibility? And it's just been tricky. So I don't know. Long ass answer, sorry.
No, I'm so happy because you weren't here last week, and I did want to
Fan art
ask
of the
about
week
that
coming
other game
up.
because
No
I knew
cards
that
in his hand.
you wouldn't be upset by asking about if you were tilted or not.
no.
I
I
love
was
that you gave
100%
such an honest
tilted.
reaction to
I
that.
dig
because-
Travis's answer.
And that goes both ways. I've had many
Travis is
sessions where I
very
walk away
honest
at the end
right
of the night. You
there.
guys may have had a great time.
And
but
I
I feel like shit.
thought what he said was
and
the
I'll
case.
go home and
And
tell Marisha about it, and she'll be
know,
like,
hey,
everything went out fine. The question I always
no
ask
harm,
is,
no
like, do you guys have
foul,
a
I
good time?
guess.
That's what's important to me. But there'll be times where like I'll botch
See, in his
decisions
case,
or
I don't
calls
think he
on the
did anything
side, and
wrong.
I keep it
I
hidden
just think he
because
could have
it,
did
it's part of
better.
what you do as a DM is you kind of, like I said, bullshit with
like I
confidence.
said, it did make
But
it
even some of that
really
bullshit stinks
entertaining.
from my side of the screen, and I'm like, fuck, why did I do that? And of course, go online and I'm like, oh well, everyone else saw it too. And it reinforces a little bit, but like, everyone has off nights, and that's okay. That's okay to all of you people out there that play games and run games. It's okay
Yeah,
to have
you
its off
can't be
nights.
on
heck,
all the
Acknowledge
time.
it, and if it's really hanging on to you,
I
and
mean, the
it's
dude
really
also
kind of
just
dragging
had a
you down, then
kid.
talk it out with
He's
your other
probably
players.
lacking
Talk it
much
out with your
sleep.
DM, or if you're a DM.
I have
go
many
and get a
friends
drink
that
with
had
your players
kids,
and
and
be like,
I
hey guys,
heard for like the first
sorry,
year
I
or
was
two,
so
you don't
fucking
get much
off,
sleep.
like,
Super
so
healthy
couldn't shake it.
Travis,
because, as
forgive
Travis
him.
said, you can show up the next week still carrying some of that baggage, and then it can really taint the experience. But I gotta find a better. Max, what's another word for
Taint
taint?
is an appropriate word for that.
really
yes.
grundle
Hinder.
the experience.
It'll
really
hinder the
grundle-
experience.
Oh, thank
Hinder.
you, Danny.
In between us,
Can really
maybe.
spoil the experience.
Hinder is
Well,
the way
let's
I
do
like
our
to
next
go.
giveaway, but before we
Hinder
do,
the experience
Zach,
is
give
used
me
often in my
Danny Cam
realm.
one more time.
Spoils
If they
good,
ever
though.
remake The Craft, do you guys remember The Craft?
The Craft,
totally.
Nev
I
Campbell.
vote Danny Carr,
Yeah.
helm that motherfucker.
Welcome to October.
I kid you
motherfucker.
not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Around
Great
this
job.
year.
This
I
is my
think
witch
it
dress.
was right
It's a
before
great job.
pandemic, so it had to be
That's great.
2019.
Spiderwebs on that.
I
cage.
went
should
and
get
saw
that
the
spider-
entire
some spiders
cast
on the
of The
cage.
Craft in New Jersey at a
Guys,
Monster Mania
our next giveaway is for you
convention.
fans that send in
It
incredible
was
art.
like
It's $350.
$350. I didn't do it, but my friend with me did a portrait with all the Craft
Was the cord on
girls.
the nip?
Nev Campbell. Like I don't remember the others' names, but I know they're lovely.
The microphone cord is
They were all
literally
there.
rubbing my nipple raw, and it's upsetting my piercings.
It's a Hallmark movie.
Do you guys know I have both my nipples are pierced, but they're not like little rings. They're like the big things that people have in their ear where it's separate.
I don't know if I
Yeah,
believe
I've
it.
got two.
I don't believe
filigree
it.
chain that connects the two of them.
Yep.
It just dangles.
That's where my
across the
mic's
top.
hanging on right now.
That's why hugs get weird with you.
It's possible.
Yeah, I do
For
the
some
Superman.
reason, I don't
Yeah,
ever
I
trust
I don't
Brian.
want to get.
I feel like you'd see it through the shirt.
Luke
At
the
some
nipple
point, I
chain.
would have
Oh,
seen it
that's
through the
awesome.
shirt.
Somebody.
Clearly joking.
Well, that's all the time we have. Our winner for episode 35 was sent in by Scott King at P-Buggy. Let's take a look.
Scott. Oh, that's adorable.
Great shit.
Scott
This
King,
one was titled
P-Buggy. That's
Not
cute.
a mom.
Yeah.
Not a mom. That's good.
pretty
Look at that
Not
poor
only is it
boy
a good
having a rough time on the ocean.
art.
I love this style
Portrait.
too. I love this design.
but I like the name too. Quality. You win.
Just like
you
not
win.
drawing.
That
into
might
his
be top
personality,
10.
And that was great.
Simple.
As
Nothing
always,
too crazy, but it's
Thank you to everyone who submitted.
done well. All around
Congrats
done
to
well.
you, Scott. You have
you
won
get
this.
the feels. It's a good style,
Peruvian walnut.
and the name is clutch.
Peruvian, speaking of what we were talking about earlier. Peruvian walnut tabletop dice tray.
What were we
Now,
talking about earlier?
This one has a distinct smell.
I think that's mine from campaign 1.
This is what you used in campaign 1?
Yeah, it probably smells like musk and
Man,
beer.
it's, yeah. Thankfully,
That's
both.
my actual dice
Thanks
tray.
to our friends at Wormwood. Check them out.
giving it
at
to you as a
Wormwood Gaming
gift.
Or wormwoodgaming.com.
We're giving you Travis's old
Remember
dice
to
tray.
submit
Good
fan
luck.
art and gifts. Submit.
Scott King.
At
Was it Scott
talksmachina.com.
King?
Submit.
Rules for our contests are available at critroll.com. Remember, unfortunately, our contests are only available to US and Canada, excluding Quebec, but maybe not forever. A question
I thought he was
for
going to
both
say
of you.
something
Submit.
against Quebec people again. He
This is
he
from-
often
God,
makes
just
silly
give us
comments.
secrets of
That time
power.
it was nice.
know.
Or
T. Mandy's second.
Possibly
Who's having
allowing
a bigger
them to
panic attack in your mind?
partake.
The players
some
having
point.
to deal with nautical nonsense, or the DM having to deal with the sheer off-the-rails hilarity this small errand has mutated into. You definitely didn't predict this was going to happen
No.
with this group.
No.
But I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like he might have
There was
planned
like
a sea
There's a whole bunch
journey.
of shit in Nicodranus that you guys were probably
Yeah,
gonna
they
come
passed
across.
by on
Talking
us.
about this on the ride home, we were like,
I feel
love
like
how
at
he
some
gave us
point he had a plan
Wizard's
for
Tower.
a.
And then when we even came back in to
nautical
get
journey.
the crew, Matt's like, so you know, they think it was infighting on the ship, so you guys are probably good. We're like, cool, we're stuck in the fuck out of here.
Yeah, good for now. Like there's still some shit in that city unresolved.
We could have stayed and explored some more, but now we're like,
like Algar had an
That's what
employee
I was
that
saying.
ran off when
In
you
the
guys
live stream, I'm like, am I
were attacked
wrong?
originally.
They weren't in that much of trouble
There's
at that
still
point.
like threads in the city.
Oh,
had an
no.
employee that ran off when we attacked him underneath the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
There were 4 people
when he
out there?
attacked you. There was somebody that he was with that he sent off.
Out high wisdom, dough.
Oh, no.
Oh shit.
There's a lot of adventure in Nicodranus still when you return.
All right.
Who was it that said
So there
to
is more
Laura, like,
going
sorry
on.
about
Somebody
your-
ran off,
sorry
but
about-
they
was
said
it
low
you? Sorry about
wisdom.
what we did to your hometown.
Hey,
no, I think
all
it- I
right.
think it- I
Some
think it might have
threads
been
unleft,
Sam. I think it was
unleft.
Come back
Some
here.
threads
Yeah,
left
sorry, you can never
I
come
was
back
trying to
here.
tell her we'll go back because
Done.
that jellyfish got fuck me up. I was like, God.
But like once again, sometimes the stories you have prepared aren't as interesting as the stories that the players are going
That's
on.
so true. Yeah.
So you just kind of follow where it goes, and if they come back to it, some of them might still be prominent.
It was
or
unexpected, but I'm
available,
okay
and
with
ramifications
everything
for not
going
coming
on.
back
In
may
my
also be
mind,
present.
there's
But
nothing
the adventure they would have had in the meantime is
they
gonna be
could do
awesome.
that would
Right.
make it not
excited for that.
entertaining.
Matt's easily wigging
Like
out
right now,
more
the ship
because
could
I am
turn
wigging
around and
out
go back to
1000%
Nicodranus.
over the
I'd be cool with that
nautical shit.
too.
The rest of the group is fucking loving it like a bunch of
I mean, I wouldn't
assholes.
agree with it.
They are eating up my panic with spoons and forks.
I
It
think
is
so. I think Travis
not
is right.
nice, just spoons and
Well,
forks.
after 3 years of you getting off easy as having such
I
an
think they're
intelligence
totally
character
eating
that
it up.
enjoys
Yeah.
things
Now
that
you
will
have
turn
some
over.
Yeah.
responsibility. It's
Looking
almost
around
like,
for,
all
some
right,
mirror
now
panic,
you
and
can
they're
see
all
what
like,
we've
"Oh,
dealt
this
with.
motherfucker."
Right. Right.
How them spell slots coming, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
boy.
100% like that, and I
That's true.
agree.
You did kind of come in easy with the warlock.
It's like it's like jabbing your
Travis.
friends. It's all in good fun.
Ferelden Pride wants to know. It was mentioned before that Fjord has some confidence issues. Now that he's the captain of the Mistake, is he feeling an enormous amount of unwanted pressure or an opportunity to prove himself?
Definitely the first one. Definitely unwanted pressure.
But then use it to prove yourself.
I mean, his
I think it
entire
should be
life,
both.
he did not
But which
try to
one
stand
more?
out. right? And I think his race prevented that. I think unwanted attention where he grew up prevented that. And as much as he tried to, he just wanted to disappear and for people not to look at him.
I feel like that's normal in everything you do. You're going to
working
have
with Vander
unwanted
when
pressure,
when he was
whether
younger, he
you're
was just
wanting
glad
to
to
do
have
it or
a
not.
role, right? That,
Like you
that
do a
didn't
job you've always
require
wanted to do.
Too much spotlight
There's
or anything else. He
unwanted
just
pressure
wanted to.
involved.
I think he just wanted to live like a life and have a role and have an existence, and that would have been enough for him. To be thrust into this thing with a bunch of people that are fucking fantastic and have insane abilities and backgrounds and are so diverse. He feels more at home because he feels like his unique looks fit into that, but then being put in charge of that, like he's reeling so much from the Lorenzo, kidnapping. Like he already felt like he let him down by being out on watch and getting snagged, and Molly's death and all that other stuff. So now being out on sea and like, oh, you're on a ship, you know what to do, and I'm like, oh yeah. So it's funny. From a character perspective and a player's perspective, both. I think I knew that a high charisma character would naturally take some sort of those leadership roles, but when they happened, I found myself going like, "Oh shit, no, I don't want."
Right. But also too, I mean, how many days has it been, or how much time has passed since the Lorenzo kidnapping?
It's probably been close to 3 weeks or so.
Oh, in game. I was gonna say that was months
At this point,
ago.
probably 4 weeks.
In game,
Still
about a
pretty
month.
fresh.
And we're trying to
yeah.
keep it light, right? There was a beach day and fucking drinking
did a
and
beach
saw,
day.
Jester's mom and everything. But Jesus, going
watched
near
this,
unconscious
a concert,
and almost
Jester's
burning a
mom
ship,
singing.
and now being out on a boat where nobody knows what they're doing except for Fjord. Like that's a lot.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's a crowded ship too.
That is.
Yes.
Yeah, and coming
I
across
said this.
what could potentially
There is
be a hostile pirate
7,
ship
8, 9,
is bad news for the
14
most
people on the
well-trained
boat.
of crews,
There is
much less
14 people on the boat.
one guy, some drunk assholes that we picked up at a port and a bunch of greenhorns.
There are 7
Yeah.
crew and 7 us.
Yeah.
We did this in the live stream. There's
He's doing that
5
evil shit
4
again.
random crew, Orly, Marius, and Gallon.
Can we play this?
That's 7. And then us,
I
Biyasha.
had no idea we were going to hit for the live
14.
show, and as you got to that point in the last episode, I was like, oh, this is going to be great.
There was actually a moment where you were like, and we'll pick this up in New York, and I was so crestfallen. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. That was the moment that I was like, fuck, I didn't even think that what was going to
The live
happen next
show.
would be live.
I forgot too, and
You
then when you
better
said that, I
prepare
go,
now,
oh
sir.
shit, next Thursday in New York. That's gonna be crazy.
New York, submit button.
Oh man.
I'm so excited.
Travis better prepare now. I didn't even think of that either. I know you guys told me the next one is live, and I didn't even think of that. So Travis,
Matt.
now he has to prove
no.
himself. Or he doesn't have to, but if he doesn't want to
The
look
way
silly.
he's reacting, I'm worried. I'm really worried.
What's the name?
This is a question from Moose Knuckles Sandwich.
That's actually one of my fantasy football teams.
Moose Knuckle Sandwich.
Is it really?
Snuggles, yeah.
It's Moose Knuckle Sandwich.
Moose
Knuckles.
Moose
Yeah.
Knuckle.
Matt,
Moose Knuckle Sandwich.
had you decided whether Marion had heard about the suicide before Jester sent her message?
She had not yet.
Okay.
It wasn't the type of information that
I
gets
was
around
curious
quickly.
about
It
that
only been
myself.
gone for a day
Like
or
she
so.
heard through town a blue Tiefling
and
girl
even-
killed
maybe
herself.
not even that much. So rumor spreads fairly quickly in some circles in Nicodranas, but Marion also isn't heavily in those social circles. 'Cause She keeps
gossip.
to herself within her room. So
Yeah, she's not
that
gossip
information
queen
had gotten
all
to
over
her.
town.
Like a lot of what had happened at the dock, even then, I mean, I looked at it after everything went down because I was like, how much is this going to affect Nicodranas and their involvement there? From the guards' perspective, they came upon what looked to be some sort of a scuffle at the docks. There were some dead bodies, and then a bunch of people jumped into a ship and took the fuck off.
No guards were killed.
No guards were killed.
Property damage.
And a woman seemed to kill herself, and they could never recover her body.
The docks were beat up.
So, right. So they're like, all right, there's this mystery of this woman that apparently killed herself. We know the basis of what she looks like, and the bodies that we found were identified as outlaws
Criminals.
that had bounties on them. So we don't know who. We have record of the ship, the Mist, that was apparently taken in this
By
under
those-
either a false name or the people that owned it previously were killed. But all we know is the ship is gone. It wasn't a big enough deal for them to send out like their whole fleet.
Yeah.
It was like, we'll send out
It
some
makes
ships to
sense.
look for any possibility of the ship
Nothing
is still in the
major
area,
happened to
but they
them.
managed to
It's
dodge their way
murder.
in. And so,
Like,
you know, there
They
are
have
some
nothing to
elements
go
and
on.
repercussions of some of the things that may play into things down the road. But
And it's
given
murder of
given how
bad
it played
people.
out, as chaotic as it was, there weren't immediate serious consequences to what went down.
We didn't have that Overwatch, that overview at all. We were like, the whole world's coming after us. We gotta get the fuck out of here.
In all honesty,
in the episode, I kind of was like,
the
and then
way
I was
it
like, oh, man,
unraveled,
this shit's fucked.
it
And then
could
after
have
the
went
week,
that
I went back
way.
to like write the preparation.
like,
for
what
the
if
next
they
episode. I
were
was
like, you manipulated
they're not
guards?
completely
The
fucked.
guy
There's just, like,
wasn't a
some
criminal.
threads
Say
of
the people we
fuckery
killed
out
were
there.
upstanding
Some
citizens.
simple fuckery.
Yeah.
It would have went a totally
Basic
different direction.
misdemeanors.
If you had rolled poorly to avoid the boat, then there could have been like a whole boarding scenario with one of the fleet ships. If you guys hadn't all been able to hide your true selves into the city, you guys have almost an entire party that can do that, which is pretty great.
Yep.
That would have been a little sticky.
Yeah, there's one
yeah,
or
like,
two
it's-
of us that can, and we
Yeah.
could use
We gotta do a better job
disguise
of, like,
kits on them.
evaluating
I think
the
it's just one of
situation.
us, right?
There was a whole
Bo?
sequence
Is
when the
Bo
guards
only one?
arrived in that battle.
Kayla? No, Kayla
And you were the one
couldn't.
closest to them. I was like, if Fjord
Yasha?
decides to interface with them and try and play off some sort of a deceit as to what's happening at the dock and rolls well, he might be able to shrug them off. And
What did I do? I jumped in the water.
he did.
I mean,
But you know what?
On
Those are
brand.
the choices you make.
On brand.
But like, but that's that's kind of what I'm teaching the Mighty Nine in some scenarios too. Is not every conflict is resolved through combat necessarily, and these characters learning that they all grew up in a lot of them in very skittish scenarios where the world is constantly oppressive and they need to defend themselves physically whenever something seems to
Which
be
is why they
a
react the
threat
way
to
they
them.
do.
I'm
That's
hoping
interesting.
through these journeys and some of these experiences that becomes a little more of a learning curve for them. That's not always the answer.
yeah, completely.
The funny part
we
is
have a few
Bo
minutes
tried to
left,
talk
Travis.
her way out of it with
Banana
Caleb
tits.
playing that game with
What the
Tracy,
fuck?
and she gets shot.
Yeah, it does
at.
say banana
So it
tits.
doesn't necessarily work all the time.
You guys are fucking killing it with this.
I mean, it
fucking
didn't help that
screaming.
Ford dropped
I
in the
love it
water,
so
made
much.
the noise. Unless I'm
Travis,
hearing.
what did Ford think of
wrong
his
in my head.
discussion with Jester after seeing the jellyfish and her follow-up statement that sometimes the things that are the most beautiful are the things that can hurt you the most? That was such an amazing moment in
That whole
this
sequence
episode.
was so beautiful, and
That
it was,
whole
I came
thing.
out of nowhere. I had
love
no
that though. I
expectation.
love that that was spontaneous.
Yeah, I was kind of in awe.
This is
of
when we were
my
having all
wife
those
at that moment.
deep talks.
Just because
Jack.
her
Handy.
emotional availability is second to none, right? She can just turn it on like at the drop of a dime, and then to take that beautiful moment and be so introspective about her character, and then point all of, I was trying to like ask her questions, like try to make Jester feel better, and then she pointed it like dead on at me, and I was like, oh God, I
Yeah,
don't
she
know.
flipped the mirror around.
Yeah, because you want to be like, it's okay, Jester, it's fine, and then that comment, I was like, is she talking about me? Is she talking about something else? You don't want to assume, and then you catch yourself at the fucking table, like having the in-head conversation. You're like, oh God, reply quickly, be charismatic. I'm not that person though. Wait, hold on.
Right.
So I was just trying to be sensitive, and I was just trying to do something that would make her feel better. But man, it left both of us, Ford and me, like just shook. Like, I mean, yeah, right? Because I interpreted it one way, and there had been like gentle like teasings, but man, that was when the emotions are real. You're
Travis,
like,
you
oh,
and I are
God.
going to have a conversation later.
we're not doing it, Danny.
I need to know more.
It is kind of cool watching in this
Danny
dynamic.
is
The more
such
you
a
guys chat with
fan,
each other, the more you trust in
obviously.
each other.
I feel like she
Who begins
really
to
will attack
fill out
Travis
which
and be like,
roles
give
in
me
that group.
information.
You and Caleb both kind of taking the more leadership roles, but not in a competitive way. In a like, please, you take this type of scenario, and it's kind of this tennis match between the two of you of allowing each other to handle certain moments. But I don't know. I'm really
feel like
fascinated
the
to see where it all
music is
goes.
kicked up.
Of who accepts
Does that mean
positions,
it's
who rejects
closing
them,
time?
who where the dynamics. I love it. I fucking love D&D. Oh my God.
It's very unexpected. I would have thought from, this is the reverse for me too. After
Am I
playing
wrong?
the
Doesn't
entire
it sound
first
like the
campaign,
music
I'd be
is really ramped
I
up?
could be the smart one. I can make tactical decisions for everybody. Why are these people choking? Why is this spell not working properly? All this stuff. I was a fucking fool. I knew nothing of the world. What a chump ass bitch.
See, Brian just looked offset and nodded like, okay.
Oh, I love it so much. Okay, Matt, our last question.
Last question.
Charlie Boychuk. There seems to be a common theme of redemption and change
Hear out loud,
sprouting in
I
recent
feel like
episodes as the Mighty
Max
Nine look
is
at their
playing 'em off
respective
like the
pasts
Oscars.
and grow a desire to be better people. Was this something you'd planned on, as you've mentioned that you had wanted to play with different themes this campaign?
It's something I'm hoping for, and I
would
say hope
think
for
so,
because
yeah.
there's only so much I can instill upon the will of the party.
Seems that way.
It's so much give and take between me and the players, and there are many, with each campaign, with every story I try and tell, there are themes I want to explore, and some the players kind of agree upon and take up instinctually, and you're like, all right, great. Sometimes they go, no, I'm not interested in that right now. I'm interested in pursuing this aspect, and then you're like, okay, well, I'll facilitate that path as well. So yeah, I'm very interested because it's such a different dynamic from Vox Machina, and it is a very different type of story. It's a bunch of characters who come from very fractured histories and are really only finding, and similar to Vox Machina, finding family in each other, but also are trying to see, whereas Vox Machina, all of them seem pretty confident of who they were and what they wanted to be in the world to a certain extent. This group is very much the opposite, and they're all kind of these lost souls that are trying to.
That's well put.
Through their connections to each other,
they definitely
find
have
a
way more
purpose
direction
and keep each other safe
in Vox
until they all
Machina.
discover
From
who
what
they
I
wanna
know,
be.
and I don't even
That's how I
know
perceived it so far,
half
and
of
I'm
it.
loving it.
Probably not even a quarter of it.
I'm comfortable with the pace. There are, some people are like, it's going too fast, going too slow. I don't know where it's. I'm like, no, I want it to just breathe and be its thing, and I want to facilitate it however I can. And I'm happy that those themes are becoming prominent in these character arcs, because to me, after everything they've been through, these are the beginning stages of everyone starting to really ask those questions internally and to each other.
I've said it before, we're
as the kids on the internet say, I'm
getting
here for
to
it.
about a third of the way through.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
So I would
Kids
assume
always coming
this
up
is
with
like the
things I don't
first act
understand.
still,
It's
so
okay.
to
Stand,
speak.
ship. The fuck does it all
I mean,
mean?
it's not
You
going to be
know
done
what
like
ship
that.
means
But
now,
I know what it
Travis.
means now. I'd asked Liam this week what stand meant.
What? You know what stand meant?
No, I thought they left the D off it or something. I was like, I stand, keep
Boy,
it. I don't know.
you need to discover the magic of Urban Dictionary, my friend. Yeah. Well,
Dad.
Urban Dictionary, that goes
that's all the time
way
we have
back.
for tonight, folks. Stick around for Talks Machina After Dark. It's going to be 12 minutes of weirdness. I would like to thank Matt Mercer. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, buddy.
Travis Willingham.
shaking
Thank you.
Shaking hands?
It's a good change.
What was
Joining
that?
us tonight,
Never.
Critical Role
I don't think I've
live
ever
from
seen
New
Brian
York
do the shaking of the
City.
hands. We do have a New York flash
Airs
button.
this Thursday
No
night.
one's noticed it yet that I know
Until
of.
then, my friends, don't forget to love each other. As always, don't worry. It's almost Critical Role Live. Oh, nice.
What was that?
Oh, nice.
Oh, top hats? Oh, did it
Wait, you only
smack
got
him in the
two?
face?
Is it fucking
Okay.
vaudeville?
Yeah, do a thing.
Do a thing.
Do a little
It's just
thing.
vaudeville.
Dance for us, dance.
Taliesin would know how to do that.
I'm gonna
Of course, it
send
doesn't
my,
fit on my
I'm
cannonball
gonna send
head.
my Arsqueef you up text.
I don't.
Yeah, you did it. Do it again while the camera's on you.
Great episode, guys. We got Travis and Matt, both very calm, cool, and collective. They're definitely a different type of guest. It depends on what mood you're in, because when you get Liam and Sam, it's usually a little more chaotic. They usually are just more silly together because of the friendship, I guess, they have. If you get Bo and Liam, you get a little more jabbing one another. If you get Sam Riegel in general, you pretty much get some chaotic insanity, which is awesome. I mean, it's entertaining and stuff like that, but this was like a nice, calm, let's just sit back and chill and have some deep talks. And I feel like we got a lot of long answers, but a lot of honest, true answers, questions, yet again, that I thought were relevant and necessary to understand. Sometimes I know they're guest questions, but sometimes there'll be a question that they'll go on for like 10 or 15 minutes with. And I mean, hey, maybe other people care, and I'm sure everyone's got their own opinion, obviously. But I feel like every now and then there's a lot of time spent on things that aren't really as important as other things in the episode. But of recent, I've been loving every episode. I've been hearing all the things I want to hear, and they've been saying the things that I had questions about, but kind of felt that they were thinking what they were thinking. And in most cases, it is what it is. Like Travis said, to be honest with you, I wasn't really prepared. I should have been more prepared. I knew I probably would be in a situation like this. Matt even went so far as to say, I thought Travis knew way more than me, so I did my homework. And day one, Travis is like, yep, wasn't ready for this. Now, I don't blame Travis. He could have thought, I've got time to do this, and then shit happened the way it did on the docks, and we jumped on the ship, and it's like, whatever. Then the next episode starts, and you still could have prepared a little, but then Travis is thinking, I assumed we just go, let's head towards the horizon or this direction. It is way more involved. I feel like he could have just read a couple things real fast, but hey, I'm not going to question him because there are things you just look past, things you don't think of. And he admitted his guilt. He's like, I should have prepared more. But I said it during the episode. I feel like it makes it more entertaining. When they're less prepared, as long as we don't sink the ship and people die, I'm okay with it because it's always entertaining. Everyone is ragging on him. He even said in this Talks Machina episode that I'm sure everyone is loving it, eating it up with spoonfuls of Travis is making constant mistakes because he doesn't know what he's doing. He even said, I liked being Grog. I said this in the live stream, how if you are the laborer, the brute force, the unwise one, the unintelligent one, all you got to do is pick things up and put them down. You're like, oh wait, Grog, move that door or bust that wall down or go kill that guy. That's like kind of what Yasha is in this sense, being the barbarian. She isn't dumb, but like she doesn't really have to do the thinking. We don't really even talk to Yasha. I mean, Ashley Johnson's not here. It's in the form of Matt Mercer. But it's like Yasha doesn't really even say much. We just have her there. If her and Jester need to rip a wall off or Yasha needs to like slice somebody in half, that's what she's there for. We look to Fjord now for the answers, especially him being seaworthy captain kind of guy. So yes, it's probably his fault for not being prepared, but it makes it more entertaining. And now he knows we're going to have a live show. Episode 37 is going to be live. So hopefully Travis does his homework. They were even saying, oh my God, it's live. Brian and Matt were like, up. We're going to be in the forefront of all these people. I don't know what it was exactly. I didn't remember what they said. We had Gen Con. What is this? Like a Comic-Con coming up? Either way, like I told you guys in the beginning, we are going to probably do this different than usual. I'm going to probably do the live stream, the end of the next episode, episode 37, and then the beginning hour of episode 38. So unless things change, we're going to do part 1, 30 minutes, Patreon hour, part 2, 30 minutes. That'll leave us with roughly an hour, give or take, of a live stream for episode 37. I think I'm just going to jump right into episode 38 during the live stream, do the first hour or so, and then we will do part 1, Patreon hour, and part 2 of the second half of episode 38, which will basically put us an episode ahead because then by Friday, we'll start episode 39. So kind of like a week, almost like we're doing 2 episodes in a week, week and a half. If things change, we'll find out. But right now, that's how I'm doing part 1, the Patreon hour, and part 2. If we change it, it'll change in the live stream, so it won't affect anything. You guys let me know what you think. Great Talks Machina. Thought it was hilarious. Brian is great. Matt is great. Travis is great. Everyone's great. Wonderful. Danny, Max, you guys want to see more of what I do, full unedited episodes, all the shows on the channel, seasons ahead of what you're seeing, hundreds of exclusives you'll only see on Patreon. The link is in front of me. Dozens of shows you'll never see on YouTube. I just don't have time to edit it all. Doctor Who, Person of Interest, the Patreon hour exclusive of every episode, Chainsaw Man, One Punch Man, Steven Universe, Centaur World, New My Little Pony, Chucky every Wednesday. Check it out. If not, comments down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.